Hello and a very warm welcome to the Punters Lounge Live. We're going to bring you all of the latest and greatest across our 3 meetings here in New Zealand this afternoon. There's so much to sink our teeth into, lots of phone interviews and plenty of information coming your way very shortly. Let's have a look at what's coming up on our show this week. Jamie Richards phones in with the latest on the Te Akau team. They've got a stack of runners across both the meeting up north at Te Rapa and also our Puni as well. Sam Collett, Auckland Cup, 2-time Auckland Cup winning jockey, is on the phone as well to talk through her book of rides at Te Rapa today. And what is a massive day of stakes racing. Waikato Cup, one of the features from there. Alan Sharrock, well, he's got a team that's on fire at the moment, and he's going to give us an insight into his contenders on today's programme. Just the one up north, Guy Lowry, of course, as well. He'll be on the phone also to talk about his team chances today, a pretty handy one in the Eulogy Stakes at Aupuni. And we also have John O'Benner, just the one horse in, the very talented filly in Key. We're going to find out a little bit more about it within the next hour here on the Punters Lounge Live. Let's get you to the track and find out what the conditions are. We'll start up north with Te Rapa, and got some cloud around, but relatively fine conditions. You can see all the marquees there set up for what is going to be a massive day of racing. We saw big crowds at Tauranga last night, and that looks set to continue as we build through the weekend. People loving the Christmas at the races and really getting around all of that excitement. We've got a man on track today. And Brendan Popwell, will catch up with him very shortly. There's the weather forecast for you: a low of 11, high of 19, cloudy periods, southwesterlies. Track condition a dead 4, running rail in the true position on the meeting code of 2. Brendan Popwell, as I said, is going to be joining us now, and good to see him out on track. And Brendan, as we build into what is going to be a really good day's races with those stakes features coming out of Te Rapa, it's great to see you on course and looking forward to your insight throughout this afternoon.
Awesome. Thank you for that, Emily. Yeah, it's nice to be able to feel the grass underfoot and the nice breeze that's coming across the track, hitting the face at least. But what a day in front of us. The Sky City Hamilton Waikato Cup, the feature where Just Amaze is looking to go back-to-back after what was a terrific win here 12 months ago. The same could be said for Julius as well in the J-Swap Sprint. And then you've got the Kalai Zuzu, where we do see Sapira rated the favourite at $2.70. Strong undercard, so much to look forward to around our race meeting. And the sold out sign is up here at Te Rapa. So there's going to be a full house. There's going to be a lot of noise. We need to find some winners. We need to talk about the dance floor first of all, though. And we're going to talk to the track curator here in Bart Cowan. And Bart, a very good morning to you. Talk us through the week leading up to today's event.
Yeah, it's been an interesting week, Brendan. We've had a day of everything, really. We had Monday, we had rain. Tuesday, irrigated. Wednesday, rain. And then we irrigated again Thursday night, Friday morning for the last time. So in total, we've had 32.5 millimetres of rain and irrigation, bringing us to a dead 4 this morning.
Right, well, a number of things that we can talk about the track, but it is one of the best drainage tracks in the country, isn't it? It's copped a lot of rain and a lot of racing over the last couple of weeks, but it's come up nicely.
Yeah, it's come back real good. We give it a fertilise on Saturday, and it's just starting to green up now. But it's been racing really well, and come back from that twilight meeting when we had a big day, lots of horses going around. It looks in really good condition.
Okay, what have you done with the rail?
So we're back to true. Haven't been back to true for 6 weeks, and the last meeting we had was at 9 metres. So there's a good inside cover of grass in that inside 9 metres, and yeah, it's really nice condition.
Okay, and a horse did gallop this morning here as well?
Yeah, we galloped Stephen James right where we stand, Brendan, actually, okay. And he was just getting a toe in the ground. Ryder said it was right in the middle of dead. But, given the day and given the weather, I think it'll improve pretty quick, and we'll probably see an upgrade at some stage.
Yeah, weather, hoping that it holds, because there was a little skiffy shower that came across. That's quickly burnt off, a bit of breeze around. So, yeah, let's hope the weather holds.
Yeah, it was an interesting forecast this morning. They had a bit of everything, but I think whatever we get will be blown away as fast as it comes.
All right, we've got a track tip for the meeting?
Oh, mate, I've got to stay local, don't I? I hope he backs it up and does it again. It'll be fantastic to see.
Yeah, it'd be great for David Green and Justin Mays. But all the best. Looks like you've got the pitch in top-notch condition. Let's hope it races well today. All the best.
Thanks, Brendan.
Good man. That's Bart Cowan talking about the track here this afternoon. And boy, we are all set and ready. As we heard, they've had the rain. It's come back. They're really happy with where the track sits. The running rail back in the true position. Now, it's an effort to try and find 9 winners on the program. 3 features to look forward to. Emily will touch base and look at those features a little bit later on.
Well, we'll leave those 9 winners to you, Brendan. And as you said, track conditions look absolutely perfect for today's meeting. And fingers crossed that rain can stay away and we can enjoy a beautiful day out at the races. Let's press on with our weather and track conditions as we get you to Awapuni next. A low of 10, high of 18, morning cloud, then fine spells. Westerlies track condition, a slow 7, running rail out 4 metres, the outside bend. So just slow 7 conditions there at Awapuni. Was a lot heavier early on in the week, so has come back a good bit there at Awapuni. Slow 7 for their meeting. We take you way down south for our third domestic meeting of the day, and that's Invercargill. Low of 9, high of 13, cloudy periods, strong westerlies. Track condition, a slow 7 as well, and the running rail is in the true position on the meeting code of 6. We're going to get you to our best backed runners for the afternoon. A little bit of insight into what punters are thinking. And we kick things off at Te Rapa Angaria. 5s into 380, good move for it. Mega Bourbon in race 3, 390 to 340. Burgundy Rose, 7s to 550. Cinzento creating interest, 19s to 14s. Sauvignon Blanc, as you would have expected, eaten up that 290, now into 240. Just Amaze for the locals, 750 to 650. Cinerama, 655s. And Ever So Clever, 650 into 550. What about the best back runners for Awapuni? We can have a little look at them as well. And just the 4. Race number 1, Butler. Pretty sure Alan Sherrick has got a lot of interest and pretty keen on this one in race 1. 5s into 260, massive push for it. Akela Bell, 10s into 750. Weaponry, 420 to 280. And our Hail Mary, 460 into 360. We've got 3 of those 4 best backed runners interviews coming up on the show later on, so we'll get some insight into those. And what about Invercargill? Can't forget about them, their best backed runners. The first, Rabina Joy, 10s to 8s. Back Hut, 8s to 5s. Secret Sound, 5s to 460. Never Quits, 5s to 460. $1,000 at $8 on Hot Tap in the 5th. Race 6, As I Thought, 420 to 380. And then race number 7, horse 9, Point Score, 6s into 5s. So an overview there of your best backed runners. And what about the promotions that we're running this afternoon? Plenty of good ways to play into the races. On all the races at Te Rapa, you've got $20,000 guaranteed first fours. tab.co.nz for more information around that. As I said, $20,000 guaranteed first fours on all races at Te Rapa. There's also another pretty exciting concept coming your way. It's called 12 Days of Punting, and we can have a little look at what that involves. Check the Punters Lounge at 9 a.m. every day between Saturday the 12th of December and Wednesday the 23rd of December to find out the offer of the day. To get involved in the 12 days of punting, just head to the Punters Lounge for details around this new concept with that Christmas theme, of course. So Punters Lounge at 9 a.m. Every day. Make sure you tune in to that. We've got to keep going. We're going to get to a break and we'll have Jamie Richards live on the phone after that. You're back with us on the Punters Lounge Live, and as promised, we've got Jamie Richards on the phone. A massive day of racing for him. Jamie, welcome in. Thanks for joining us.
Morning, Emily. Yep, thanks for having me.
I had a little look through your runners, and I pretty much ran out of a page. I had to put it across 3 pages. You've got a stack of contenders coming up. Thought I'd kick things off with the 2-year-old race, Sword of State, in that we know how good the Tiakau team is with 2-year-olds. How does this horse rate compared to the others?
Well, he's up there. He's a nice colt that they've bought from the Gold Coast. He's by Schnitzel from a 2-year-old running family, so this is what he's bred to be doing. And he's probably taken a little bit longer to get off to the races than we would have liked, but we've just had to take him along a bit quietly, but we think he's getting there now.
And what did you make of the recent trial? Was that expected? It was a slow 9 track that day.
Yeah, he's got a firm track action. He's got a little daisy cutter action. Probably wants better ground, but happy to forgive him for running second there. the other horse seemed to relish the soft track conditions, but I'm sure that we'll be hopefully going well on the better surface there today.
Jamie, we've seen Sneaky Shark, Palamos, I could list 4 or 5 others in contention for some of those big features coming up. But how does this horse stack up against them? What are your expectations for today?
He's sort of up there in the top 2 or 3, I guess. It's hard to get a line on some of them in those earlier races because you're not sure of the depth behind them. But as you get a little bit closer to Christmas, the other ones start to come out and you sort of get a bit of a line on where you are at with them, and we'll certainly get that today with sort of start expecting him to run well. Be disappointed if he wasn't in the first 2 or 3.
Jamie will press on to Brando and the 3-year-old set weights and penalties. There's always been plenty of interest and money around this horse whenever he steps out. Broke the maiden last time. You've had a little gear change. You've got the noseband going on. Thoughts behind that?
Not something that's uncommon for us. So a lot of ours race in nosebands. He's just got a rubber noseband on him just because he's been going a touch keen, and just try and get him back under a little bit. But been pleased with his trial there at Te Aroha. Work's been good since, but this is his biggest test. There's a couple of nice horses. I thought it was a good quality field, and we're going to get a good line on how he's going.
And speaking of a line on how he's going, what are you going to do from here? Has he got some bigger assignments coming up if he comes through today's race okay?
Yeah, he has. He just give him a little freshen up after Te Aroha, just to, he's going to be up a while now, so gave him a little week in the paddock, trialled at Te Aroha, goes to Te Rapa today, then he'll go to Ellerslie on Boxing Day for the Shores 1400 listed race there, and then hopefully onto the Live-In Classic 3 weeks later.
You've got in race number 4, Burgundy Rose and Lilakoi as top chances in that one. Tell me a little bit about those two. Burgundy Bell, I think it is very consistent type at the grade.
Yeah, Burgundy Rose is going well. Burgundy Bell's in a little bit later on, but both homebreds that were bred at Te Aka, so they've done a good job. Burgundy Rose is one of the last couple. She's up in the rating band there a bit now, so we've elected to claim with Joe's allowance, gets 4 off, goes forward. She'll be there when the whips are cracking, and Lilakoi's she's a high quality mare, just didn't enjoy the soft track at Hastings last time, and I'm sure that she can turn her form around back on top of the ground there today.
Lilakoi had that track gallop at Ellerslie, and she looked like she hit out really well.
Yeah, she's a good galloper on a day, just needs good ground, we're hoping. So she's a little while between runs, and that's why we took her up there to just make sure that she's up to the mark, because she's certainly been doing very well at home. Out
of those two, how do you assess both of their chances?
Burgundy Rose will be up on speed, so just sort of see how that track's playing. It should be a beautiful surface there today and suit all runners. Lilakoi will be probably ridden for a little bit of cover. I'd say Lilakoi's the better horse. She's a stakes winner of the Eulogy on this day last year, so probably Lilakoi's the pick of those two, I would have thought.
Jamie will go to Prix de Feu next, who takes his place in the J-Swap sprint. There was a little bit of, I guess, probably not the preparation that you would have wanted, having to scratch from the Captain Cook. Tell me about how you get a horse when to this race when you've had to sort of juggle things around to get here.
Yeah, so I guess we're training him to go a mile, and he did some nice work last week. Worked over 1200 on Tuesday morning last week, and then bit of 3/4 and up the back straight there at Matamata last Thursday. Then we decided to pull pins, so I didn't do anything with him on Saturday, just left him alone. He worked over 1,000 on Tuesday morning, good strong 1,000, worked well, and then we just gave him a little bit of 3/4 on Thursday and up the straight a little bit, just kept him nice and fresh, and I think he's fresh and well. We've done everything we can, and I think importantly there today with him, he's finally drawn a barrier. Those first 3 starts, he just hasn't even drawn anywhere near the fence, always had to get a long way out of his ground. So hopefully we can ride him a bit closer to the speed today.
You've made a couple of gear changes with him as well. I think the visor blinkers off, blinkers on, and the tongue tie goes on. Just to switch him on a little bit more, was that the thought behind it?
Yep, absolutely. Concentrate a little bit further. We sort of took the full cut blinkers off to get him to go 2,000 metres at Hastings. And the tongue tie, just older horse, just trying to play around with him, get him to find another length, and hopefully, just keeping everything nice and sort of flat in his mouth there, we can get the best out of him.
Race number 6, you've got Mai Tai. Tell me a little bit about this one. Well fancied, 340 and 320 in the market, and again got a nice draw.
Yeah, going well. OP on. Ryan just sort of got a little bit wrong at Awapuni last time. He just sort of sitting still when he should have been going forward at the 600, and she flashed home and ran a very good fourth. But she's come home and trained on well, and you know, she's a progressive mare that we like, and owned by Wentwood, and the race is sponsored by Wentwood, so it'd be good for them to win their race that they've sponsored.
And you've also got in the Sky City Hamilton Cup Sauvignon Blanc, and there's been so much talk around Sauvignon Blanc in the build-up to this, and deservedly so, because wow, that run last time at Pukekohe, she closed it off so well, didn't she?
Yeah, she did. She didn't have a lot of luck. Drew out, sort of got back in the field and sort of held up halfway down. But her closing sectionals would have been as good as anything in the race or on the day, I would have thought. She seems to have trained on well. This has sort of been her target all the way through Waikato Gold Cup and the City of Auckland Cup. So, look, she gets in really well at the weights with Roger that up there, up at the top of the book, compressing things down. Drawn a little bit awkward, but we're going to try and be a little bit positive. Don't want to be as far back as we were last time, so we'll see how we get on.
And obviously, with the draw being drawn out again, do you have to go back, or would you try and have her a little bit handier to take that sort of element out of it?
Got to go forward a little bit, I think. She just makes it so hard for them when they're back, and they've got to get around all the horses in front of them when they are back markers. So we'll be positive, just see if we can slot in midfield. There's a good run to the first corner, so just having a bit of a look at the form there. There does appear to be genuine tempo in this race, and a few apprentices in there. Hopefully they'll go along a bit.
We're just looking at your book of runners for Te Rapa. If you had to give us, in your opinion, your best of the day, who would it be?
Really happy with Sauvignon Blanc. Troy gave her a little bit of three-quarter on Thursday morning and said she's bang on, so that's good enough for me.
And then what about for Awapuni? We haven't even touched on some of the contenders down there. You've got Get Hitched, Romantic Lady, Aromatic, Weaponry. What about a best for Awapuni?
They're all going really well, those horses. Sort of got soft track form. Get Hitched, she trialled really well at Tower the other day. She's probably one of our better chances down there. Romantic Lady will run well. Might just be looking for a touch further, but kept it nice and fresh. Weaponry's a good honest horse, doesn't mind soft ground, but doesn't win out of turn. And Aromatic is progressive, first run up and trip as we look towards the Dunstan Series final for her on New Year's Day. So got a lovely team of horses in today. You know, there's sort of genuine each way chances all day.
Jamie, as always, thank you so much for your time. Best of luck with all of those contenders, and in particular, of course, in those feature races coming from Te Rapa.
Thanks, Emily.
So that was Jamie Richards chatting about his contenders on a massive day across the two meetings of Awapuni and Te Rapa. We're going to get you to a break, and then we continue on with our interviews. We've got Sam Collett on the back of that. You're back on the Punters Lounge Live, and three domestic meetings this afternoon. Sam Collett joins us on the phone to talk about her rides from Te Rapa. And Sam, on the way to the races at the moment, thanks for joining us.
No worries, Emily. It's a nice day. We're heading towards Waikato here, probably about 40-odd minutes away, and weather looks pretty nice.
That's what we like to hear. Let's have a little chat about your rides. We'll start with race number 3. You've got Klassen, and as you can see, sits at 10s and 12s, Sam. Lightly raced, just 2 starts for a first and a second. Broke the maiden at that latest one. What are your thoughts? You rode on debut, went second.
Yeah, he's a very quirky sort of a horse. I mean, he's had 2 very consistent runs when he won his first up start and then ran second last time out. Rob's got a pretty high opinion of him. He's definitely a smart horse going forward. It's been nice to see him sort of come away from his home track, and the Triple A will probably do him good. But he has drawn a favourable gate today, which hopefully suits him. He can be inclined to do a few things wrong mid-race, so hopefully he brings his best behaviour today.
Yeah, fingers crossed. In that race number 5, you've got Coventina Bay in the J-Swap Sprint, the open handicap over the 1400 metres. And another one for Robbie Patterson. Got back and then was really good late in the Legacy Lodge Sprint for second. Tell us a little bit about this one.
She's a mare I've always had a lot of time for. She's been super unlucky to not have bagged one this preparation. She doesn't help herself much because she's always quite tardy leaving the gates. Just seems to be her way of doing things, which always sets her up for a wee bit of a task. But I mean, she just absolutely boomed home last start to run not far off Master Pony, who's a very smart horse in the making, and she gets in on such a nice weight. She loves Waikato, so she really does deserve her turn to win a really nice race.
You drew 9 at the latest, and just unfortunately no better today, out in 13, I think it is, or comes into 10 actually. Are you just forced to go back again with the style of racing?
I don't really think it makes much difference to her because she's just so average when she gets out of the gate. She just seems to take a little bit of time to find her stride. So to be fair to her, it doesn't really make much difference where she drew. It won't change her racing pattern too much, and she probably does prefer a wee bit of room to get going. So she's going to get back either way. It just hopefully we'll just have no one near us, I'd say.
Race number 7, you've got the mount of Paisley Park. You've ridden this horse a long time ago, but you get back on today. And what have you made of Paisley Park's latest runs?
Yeah, he's a horse I really, really liked early on, and thankful to be able to get back on him today. He's been working very well. I worked him with the blinkers on this week, and he was pretty sharp and pulled up very well. He's nice and fit. He also likes Waikato. I'm not too sure sort of what to make of his last start run. Obviously, I didn't ride him on that occasion, but prior to that, his form had been really solid. He's an out-and-out staying horse, but he's just a really nice horse to ride, and I'm pretty sure he's going to give me some sort of feel today, especially with the addition of the blinkers.
And Paisley Park runs for the Graham Richardson and Rogan Norvell team. Race number 8, you've got Le Castile in the Kalai Suzu Stakes. And geez, I had a lot of time for this horse prior to Pukekohe. Can you just give us any idea of what happened, or was it more of a scratchy head job?
It was a bit of a scratchy head job, and we were sort of hoping that she'd hop away and race a little bit closer to speed. Last start, which didn't sort of happen for some reason or another. I mean, I know previously in campaigns prior to this, she's shown good gate speed, so I'm not too sure what happened at the start. She just seemed to be really laboursome to get into stride, and the race was run pretty pedestrian mid and early stages, which didn't suit her. I wasn't disappointed with her run, but I really thought she'd run some sort of race last time, so it was a wee bit of a head scratcher, but Nigel was very happy with her by all accounts, and she's definitely a mare that when she puts her best foot forward, she's well capable of taking out this race.
She goes for this one today from the 1400 to the 1600. Do you think that's going to be more to her liking?
I would think so. It might just make it a bit easier for her if she just can hop away and just travel a bit closer to speed. She's shown me a fantastic turn of foot early in the preparation, so hopefully she just sort of put that last run behind her and she can bounce back today.
Race number 9, you've got Theodore, rating 65 over the mile, and got an unbeaten record, 1 start, 1 win. Can we make it a rating 65 win at just a second start?
I definitely think that this mare's capable of doing that. She's still very new. She's a great big lump of a mare. Pam and the owners have been very patient with her, given her plenty of time to physically develop, and she really gave me a great feel on debut. She trialled up super previously to that, winning an open trial heat as a maiden. But I think that she'll run very well today. She's still learning her ring craft a bit, and I think you'll see the best of this mare when she gets up over a trip. But she's definitely one to watch out for.
We're just going to have a little look at your book of runners as well. What about tactics on Theodore? What do you do with her from the 7?
I think we'd try and help her out a little bit. I don't want to over bustle her. She was lucky enough to draw a really nice gate last start, which enabled me to get the softest run in the race. So I didn't really get that luxury today. So I'm just going to have to work it out. The mile start at Waikato offers a really nice long run down the back. So hopefully that'll just give me enough time to find a spot where she travels kindly and not be too far off them.
Looking at a summary of your book of rides, Sam, what do you feel is your best ride for the afternoon?
I'd have to say Coventina Bay, and she's knocking on the door, and she's in racing up against these horses and racing very well too. So with a spot of luck, she might not be as tardy from the gates there. If it saves me a length or two, it's a length or two that she's been beaten previously. So I think she's my best ride.
And at $5.50, the punters will love that. Sam, safe travels to the races. Best of luck on a busy day, and hopefully we're seeing you in those post-race interviews after.
No worries. Thanks, Emily.
So that was Sam Collett chatting about her rides at Te Rapa. We're going to take a break, and then we welcome in Alan Sharrock on the phone.
Keep on living and never stop. Keep on living, baby.
100 metres tennis court. Over on the outside of it here is Carson River, and then Credit Manager and Toro del Greco starting to come home. Just Ask Me's got a lot of ground to make up. Toro del Greco's been spec'd at a price and got to the lead. Just Ask Me's about to sprout wings, and King Killia the inside. Toro del Greco, Just Ask Me. Wow! What a finish!
Was such a dominant win by Just Ask Me, and 50 metres from home, or even 100 metres from home, you couldn't believe that the horse was going to win, and it just flew up the outside. And Alan, it's your team's in fantastic form at the moment. Welcome into the show, and congrats on all the recent success.
Yeah, thanks, Emily. Yeah, long may it continue, but we know this game, it's not going to last forever, so you ride the wave till you land on the beach. So let's see what happens.
Well, hopefully it continues this afternoon. I thought we'd start by having a little chat about Cinerama and the Kalai Suzu Stakes. You got the draw. Can she win?
Yes, she can, but Sapira's an outstanding mare when she's right, and I think that's the stumbling block if there is one. We need a nice ride from your husband, and I've always had a good strike rate with him. So if he can posse up 6th or 7th, they'll know she's at the races. She was very, very good last week, and when she raced Concert Hall, and it went on to run second in the Group 1. So the form's pretty good, Emily.
Yeah, it is. Concert Hall, obviously, that second in the Captain Cook Stakes. That must give you a lot of confidence.
Yeah, and her work's been super. I couldn't get her early in the season. I had a couple of target races, but her coat never shifted, and she was just static early. But in the last month, she's hardened off, licking the bowl, coat's turned, and I think she's as good as I can have her. So I'm very happy with her prep.
Can she settle any closer from the barrier too? We've seen her get back and often be slow out, but do you think she'll be able to sit a bit handier in that 2 draw?
Well, that's what I'm hoping with Opie on. I'd love to be 6th or 7th. She has had a history of kissing spines her whole career, and she was redone about 10 days ago. I'm hoping that was causing her to miss the jump in the last 3 starts. But if Opie can warm her up and she pops away 6th or 7th, she's got to be a winning chance, Emily.
Let's get down to the Central Districts, because you've got Butler in that first race on the card from our Puni. It featured on our market movers earlier on. 250 in 3s. I know you got a lot of time for this horse.
Yeah, lovely animal. He reminds me a lot of a good sprinter years ago, Courier Bay. He's built like a bullock. Great nature, and it was a strong win last start. It's always a step up though, Emily, to 65. Off track isn't a concern. He goes on anything, and he's prepared very, very well. Galloped huge Tuesday, so we expect a good run from him as well.
Up to the 1200, sticking to the 1200, I think today. That's obviously no concern.
No, he's by showcasing they're pretty versatile, and he's out of a sprinting mare. So, yeah, I can see him eventually getting a mile, but at this stage we'll just stay around the 1200. It's cosy, and that's what we're looking at.
In the Lawnmaster Eulogy Stakes, you've got Signora Nera and also Sumi. We'll start with Signora Numi. Oh, get my names mixed. Signora Nera. I can't even spit them out. Sumi scratched, but tell me a little bit about this one from that barrier 9.
Yeah, well, she's a lovely filly. Prep has been, for me, going into a mile. I would have loved a 1400. Mother won over 2,000 metres. I raced her with Luigi Madonna, and she was a good mare. So I don't think she's got a problem at a mile, but Emily, you'd always like a 14 before a mile. I only had the opportunity to have 2 12s, but trained her accordingly. Genuine filly, doesn't mind the cut out of the ground. I think it's probably one of the stronger Eulogy Stakes fields, and I've got to play in that field. But she looks impeccable, and I think she's going to race really well.
She's pretty much still in her first prep, isn't she? So she's going the right way.
Yeah, she's done a great job, and Swainess are going terrific, and I'm pleased to have a share in that horse, and all the ones I've had all know how to gallop. So, yeah, we're very positive. It'd be great to run top 4 for the mare, and for Luigi. So, yeah, I really like her chances today.
And she seems like a really adaptable type as well, racing midfield or handy. What are you hoping for today?
Probably I'll be telling Hazel to settle back a wee bit to hope she's strong at the mile. She can do either, like you said, but I just got a funny feeling with the rain ahead, the inside may go off late in the day. She's drawn in the right place, and we might be sitting 3 with cover and hoping to get down the middle of the track. So we'll see how the pattern plays out anyway, Emily.
And another of the market movers was our Hail Mary in that last race on the card, the rating 74 over the 1500. Third up, and seemed an improved effort at that latest.
Yeah, quality mare. Beautiful filly to look at. And she's already got a smidgen of black type, but she'll get some more this year. I think the distance suits, blinkers go on, and once again, I believe the last race is drawn in the right place. Hazel got too far back on her last start, but she ran the quickest sectional of the day. If she can be 2 or 3 pegs closer today and unfold with the same sectional, she's got to be very hard to beat.
The draw is any concern for you, or you think we'll be able to overcome that?
I just think it's going to play out later on, Emily, with the rain ahead here during the week. I just walked on the track, though. It looks surprisingly good. It's blown for 2 days, but they had a hell of a lot of rain, just like we did in the Neckie. So it'll be very interesting how the inside plays during the day.
Alan, you've got heavily fancied runners across Te Rapa and Awapuni. Tell us your best chance across those 2 meetings.
Well, I really can't split Butler or our Hail Mary here, and for my own sake, I've got a share in our Hail Mary and Cinerama, so I hope he can do a job for me up there. But probably the 2, the first and the last race here, they're very strong chances.
Well, thanks so much for your time, Alan, and best of luck across those 2 meetings.
No problems. Bye-bye.
And Alan's tips there in the first and the last of the day at Awapuni, heavily fancied market movers earlier on today, so keep an eye on them. We're going to continue on with our coverage. It'll be Guy Lowry on the back of this next break.
Before I let you cross my mind, didn't see it coming 'cause I've never seen your kind. You're at 100, ain't too fast, but you at 1,000.
You're back with us on the Punters Lounge Live, and we just wanted to update you on the best back runners for Awapuni off the back of Alan Sherrick's chat. And as you can see, Butler 5s into 260 at the top there in race number 1, heavily fancied. Also for Alan Sherrick, our Hail Mary in the last 460 into 360. You got a Kelabell and Weaponry in the mix as well at Awapuni. We promised Guy Lowry on the phone, and he does join us now. Guy, thanks for taking time out of your day to have a chat with us, and good to have you on the show.
Yeah, thanks, Emily. That's good. Yep.
Let's start off with the Eulogy Stakes. She's a catch, top chance in it, and hard to fault the horse 2 from 2. How has she come into the race?
Yeah, we're really happy with the way she's worked. She really gave her a good gallop on Saturday, and she worked strong. And she's had a good week, so we're just keeping our fingers crossed that the track sort of comes back a bit. But it looks like it's coming back, so that gives us a bit more confidence.
Just concerned that she maybe wouldn't handle the softer conditions?
Well, you never know, do you? I mean, we do know she was the good conditions, so, it's not that common that they handle both.
She's a bit of an excitement machine, isn't she, with what she's done to win a stakes race on debut and then to back that up with another win. You must have her wrapped up in cotton wool there at the stable.
Oh, not really. She's actually quite a hard case to have anything to do with. She's she's quite strong-willed, so she's not that easy. She's certainly wrapped up in cotton wool, but she's she's just like any of the other horses. We all treat them pretty similarly.
And stepping up to the 1,600 metres, I suppose being by Savabeel, that wouldn't be too much of a concern?
It doesn't look that way, but you never know. I mean, the way she won her first race and the way she won the next start, there's fingers crossed that she gets the mile.
And just looking ahead, all being well out of today's race, is the Levin Classic the race on the horizon for you?
Well, yeah, that's the main goal. So, although we'd like to win today, it's really all about the Levin Classic, really. So, and there's a wee way to go till then. So, we're just keeping our fingers crossed that she does everything right. It's really a bit about education at the moment, and we are a little bit worried that she'll be a bit over keen going into a mile. But I guess she's got to go there at some stage. So against the fillies is a good start anyway.
And as you said, a stepping stone towards some bigger assignments. In race number 8, you've got Can I Get an Amen, the rating 74 over the 1,500 metres, and she's another really talented type. You've got a good draw today. That's a positive.
Yeah, that is a positive. I can't see it being ridden too far back. She's also not one that we want to use up too much early either. But from that draw, we should get a good posse, sort of 5th or 6th or 7th, around there, and hopefully she can. She's got a really good little sprint, so we just don't want to get there too early. That's all.
And it seems to be in that pet distance range for her as well, the 1,500 metres.
I think so. I think 1,400 to 1,500, sort of around about where she needs to be at this stage, anyway.
Just having a little look at her closing it off, and just went back from that wide draw, then held up at the latest, and fingers crossed that won't be the case today from that barrier too.
No, that's right, Emily. I mean, you always need a bit of luck in those races when you're getting back a little bit. But I do know that she'll gather a good sprint up if she can be ridden a little bit more patient. So that will be the case today, hopefully. We will need a little bit of luck.
You've also got a pretty exciting contender up north at Te Rapa. You've got Mahaka in the Kalai Suzu Stakes, the Group 2. Tell us a little bit about this one's chances.
So she went out after winning the Touring Cup for 10 days or so, and so she's fresh up today. And yeah, I'm pleased with the way she's going. She's got a good draw, so hopefully she'll forward somewhere. And I don't think there's too much pace inside her. I think all the pace is from outside. Yeah, so hopefully we can get there without too much of a ask.
And that'll be your instructions to Chad, just to have a thereabouts?
Pretty much so, yeah. Our biggest issue with her is she gets a bit cranky around the barrier, so we sort of, just always keep our fingers crossed there.
And she's been so consistent this prep, hasn't she? She's just been really, really solid with what she's doing. She seems to be a happy horse.
Yeah, she is a happy horse. To be fair, she had quite a long 3-year-old campaign, and we did push her along quite a bit, probably too much. She had a couple of trips to the South Island, and then she was coming up quite nice, and then we had COVID, so. That's why she's taken that bit of time.
What about your best of the day? Te Rapa, our Puni, have you got one for us?
Probably She's a Catch, to be fair. Geez, I was muddling my words there, wasn't I?
Happens to all of us, don't worry. She's a Catch, yep, that's the one for you?
Yeah, probably, yeah.
Well, thanks for having a chat to us, Guy. Great to get you on the phone, and best of luck with your chances in those stakes races.
Yeah, thank you.
So Guy Lowry talking to us about his top chances in the Eulogy Stakes. He's got She's a Catch, and then later on in the Kalai Suzu Stakes, Mahaka as well. So that to look forward to. We're going to get you to another break here on the Punters Lounge Live, and then on the back of that, John O'Benner on the phone to talk about his one runner in Key. with us on the Punters Lounge Live as we link in with Jono Benner. And Jono, a very good morning.
Morning.
Got just the one runner today, but it's a pretty exciting and talented one in a stakes race, the Eulogy Stakes. And off the back of that second in the Lucia Valentina Wellington Stakes, must be pretty happy with your chances.
Yeah, definitely. Look, obviously, it was a heavy 10 the other day, so we're hoping for a bit of improved conditions for today, and it seems to be drying out quite nicely. So just feel that, you know, she's capable enough in the wet, but we just would like to see her on a bit better footing just to see a bit more pick up when it's required.
We did see her on the dead six surface, didn't we, when she placed? You do think that the better track conditions are more to her liking?
I think so. Being an Exceed and Excel and beautifully bred filly, there's no doubt that the better the tracks get, the better she'll go.
How did she come through that Wellington Stakes?
Superb. She is tough as teak, never leaves any feed, never has any soundness issues. Obviously, just a little bit tough-natured at times, but we couldn't be happier with her.
And what kind of work do you do with a horse like that following on from a mile Group 3? What's her work been like during the week?
Oh, look, just got to maintain her. She's been to the beach a fair few times and does the odd little bit of jumping as well, just to keep her stimulated. So she's pretty well-rounded sort of filly. So she's not too bad to have around.
You mentioned it earlier on, but the beautiful pedigree there on her, beside her name, and that always helps, doesn't it, when you're looking for a talented one?
Yeah, exactly. Look, she's very valuable. So these are the sort of races she's got to be running in, and if she can just continue to feature in these races, it just enhances her pedigree every time she goes to the races. So look, no doubt we're going there today trying to win the race like this, so hopefully we can get the result we're after. Tell
me about tactics from the draw. What are you thinking from that wider draw in 10?
Oh, look, I still predict the fence might be a touch off. We did have a lot of rain earlier in the week, so the draw's not too big a deal. As long as we get cover somewhere, wouldn't mind being a pair further back today. It looks like there's a fair bit of speed from out wide, so looks like we should be able to get it back somewhere and present her down the middle and have her attacking late rather than hitting the front too soon. I think maybe the last couple of times she's hit the front a touch soon, and just the addition of blinkers today as well. She's showing us at home that they've sharpened her up a lot more as well.
She's got some pretty big nominations for those future races, the Levin Classic, the Vodafone New Zealand Derby, the Albassi Equiworld New Zealand Oaks. What's the plan, all being well, from today?
Hard to say. Just get through today and see where the chips fall. There's a lot of options for a filly like her. She's sort of obviously a mile at the moment. Whether she'll go much further, I suppose we have to answer that at some point. But just focus today and then go from there.
Well, best of luck with your chance, Jono. You feeling pretty confident?
Yeah, look, definitely. Look, it's a good race, but she's a pretty good filly. So we wouldn't swap her for any of the others, and we'll go there and have a good crack anyway.
Well, that's Jono Benner having a chat about his chance in Key, just the one runner for the day in the Eulogy Stakes, and looks like a pretty nice chance as well off the back of that placing, of course, in behind at the Wellington Stakes. A nice effort by it. Let's get you on to Te Rapa. We wrap up our phone interviews and we get on track at Te Rapa for stakes races very shortly. 3 domestic meetings coming your way. Te Rapa, Aupuni, and of course Invercargill as well. Scene looks pretty well set at Te Rapa. Brendan Popplewell is on track to link in with us throughout this afternoon. Brendan, as we get to you, hopefully the sun can keep on shining and we can enjoy this stakes racing under blue skies.
Yeah, let's hope it's blue skies. Emily, probably in the last 15 minutes, the wind's picked up. It's a little bit grey, so let's hope this burns off and runs away and we can have that blue cloud and a bit of sun coming back, because look, it's going to be a huge day here for the club, especially with the big crowd on track and the racing we're expecting. Look, we're going to have a look at a couple of races for you, and obviously we'll touch on those feature races very shortly, but we're going to have a look at race number 3 first of all, which is a very intriguing 3-year-old race where we do see the likes of Brando, who is the runner that has the potential And then you've got a couple of proven runners in the race, horses like Mega Bourbon and Play That Song, and even De La Terre, who was good enough to win a Soliloquy Stakes here 2 starts ago, and beat home a horse that went on to win the 1,000 guineas, of course, in Karma Lass. So, look, it's an interesting race, this one, with Brando, because how do you play it? Because he is a horse that has been highly spruiked as, you know, one of the horses to look out for out of the Te Akau barn this season. They couldn't quite get to the 2,000 guineas like they were hoping for. He was beaten first up by, a very good filly by the name of Tinker McPhee, who went straight on by. The figures still backed up the run when beaten by her. And then he's come out and won next start to the races at Te Araha. They decided not to press on and go towards the 2,000 guineas with him and have a look at more of a summer campaign. He's had a good trial. Look, he was a horse who was working home in his trial to finish into 3rd position. All his best work was through the line from Brando. Mega Bourbon, though, was a horse that has produced 2 terrific wins at this venue. Look, he won back here on the 17th of September. Really love how he's let down and he's gone past Helsinki, who has been stakes placed this season. And then you've got the win when beating Babylon Berlin. Look, was able to rein in that horse and was a terrific win by Babylon to beat Babylon Berlin on that occasion. So, look, I've bounced between both of these runners a couple of times, either Mega Bourbon or Brando, Mega Bourbon. I'm going to go Mega Bourbon in the race. I think on the leg up on Thursday was undecided between the both. Went Brando over Mega Bourbon. I'm going to go Mega Bourbon. I thought the horse's price was available there that you could have a little nibble at, and punters have been. It's $3.40. Was off an opening quote of $3.90. Interesting to see that there has been money for Play That Song in the last 24 hours. This was a filly that opened at a quote of $5.50 and now is at $4.80. She's had a day out at the trials. She's gone down to Te Araha. She's just worked home under her own steam. And as we know, she was beaten in the Sistema Stakes when finishing 4th and was one of the red hotters in the Kanaka Million when finishing 2nd. And that was in behind Cool As Abil. So, look, in the end, I went the 2, Mega Bourbon, just over the 5 in Brando. This sets up to be one of the races on the undercard, this particular 3-year-old race. I think the 6th Illumination does put itself into the race with the barrier draw. Showed good speed when winning out of New Plymouth, and you'd imagine that maybe she's a horse that can go forward with a horse like De La Terre, the other one that will look to press forward and from a wide gate. And then you've got to sort of play around like the horse of De La Terre and Play That Song for multiples in behind. So that's race number 3 on the program, the Dunstan Horse Feeds Premier over 1,200 metres. Let's have a look at the first of our features coming up on the program, which will be race number 5, the J-Swap Sprint Handicap, Group 3, 1,400. At the top of the book, we get to see the defending champ of this race in Julius. He went on to win the Railway at his next start, and that's the path they want to take again with him. He's moved in this market. He's got a barrier draw. He's had a good hit out at Counties, obviously in the Counties Bowl, when finishing into 4th position, and then his run in between races at an exhibition gallop at Rotorua. The other runner that has taken money is the Mitigator, 8s and 250 around the Mitigator. Look, this is a horse that's going to go forward. He's produced one of his best runs in his career at this venue when running 2nd in the BCD Sprint. So let's have a look at a map for you. Look, it's a map where you will find Julius putting himself right in the race, as he does. He's got a barrier draw to do that. He hustled out of the gates in the Counties Bowl from a wide draw, and he never gave up in that race. I thought it was a gallant effort from him to finish 4th, with the weight that he carried on that occasion is the same today at 60.5. But the Mitigator, he does come into this race with some form. And that's a key factor for him. He's got his form back on track with the win at Awapuni, and then his placing, of course, last time out when beaten by Gino Severini. He is a Group 1 winner. This is a Group 1 placing in what was his best performance that he's been able to produce. 2nd here in the BCD Sprint when he really did make Te Akau Shark chase him down in the straight. So it's over 1,400 metres at this venue. If he can produce something similar to this, he could be very hard to peg back. He is a runner that is still available at the each way odds of sort of around that 8s and 3s mark is the Mitigator. He will give you a big sight. Let's have a look at Julius. We're going to take you back 12 months ago when he won this race. He was able to park in the right position and produce his best run over the top of horses. If he can find a spot like this, we know how hard it is to get past Julius. And as we saw that with how he won the Group 1 Railway at his following start. I think everything's sort of panned out nicely for the team since his return to racing and how he's progressed through this preparation. I'm going to mark him on top. I'm going to go with Julius on top in front of the Mitigator. I think both these horses present as great chances of maybe having a split bet between the two, with where they sit at the sort of $6 and $8. I think you've got to have still respect for Prix de Feu, the favourite in the race at $3.30. Look, this is a horse that decided against going towards the Captain Cook Stakes over 1,600 metres because of how the track was around that sort of slow 7, slow 8 mark. They decided against that with him, and now they've got their summer plans heading towards Ellerslie, so they've gone for this option of 1,400 metres 7 days later for him. He'll be closing off. He's got a barrier draw where they can take a spot with him as well, so he's a big player, is Prix de Feu. He is 2 from 2 at the distance. That was when he won his maiden and rating 72. You've got Mascarpone, you've got Coventina Bay, Vigor Winner. They're all horses that can be involved in amongst the multiples in behind. Terrific way to start our feature racing here, the J-Swap Sprint Handicap Group 3 1400. Let's move on to the Sky City Hamilton Waikato Cup. Favourite is Savion Blanc, $2.30. She is a mare that's taken a lot of support off the opening quote of $2.90. She was a runner that got back in the Counties Cup and was working home strongly behind the stablemate in a twinkling to finish into second position. She sits at $4 for the City of Auckland Cup, a race that she did run second in last year. Justin Mays does have the support though, once again, 6s and 225. He opened at 7.5. He's a runner that will carry half a kilo less than what he did last year as well, with 53.5 on his back. Andrew Calder, certainly the hot hand throughout the week with his efforts at Ellerslie on Thursday night, riding 3 winners. Interesting map, because we know that Justin Mays can go forward and will like to find that forward and running position. The one thing that has been against this horse is that he has been slow out of the barriers. Now, he is drawn barrier number 1 with the scratching of Obsessive. If you did see the piece with David Green throughout the week, felt as though the horse is in great condition to be able to back up the victory from 12 months ago. He was just hoping for one thing, not to draw barrier 1. Unfortunately, that wish has come true with Justin Mays now going down to barrier 1 with the scratching of Obsessive. He found the front, he rolled to the top. There was no pressure in this race 12 months ago, and he had a lot in the tank. Maceto actually ran second and got the trailing spot in behind Justin Mays 12 months ago. And off the back of what Maceto has done through the campaign, following this, was good enough to be placed in a Trentham Stakes and 4th in an Avondale Cup. Maybe he is the one that could be at a bit of an over for trifecta and first 4 players, especially with those $20,000 guaranteed first 4s about today here at Te Rapa. Maybe he is an option for that, because he's a runner that is more than capable and is at a big price. But that was Justin Mays finding the front, and that's what it's going to be all about today. Can he find that position up front? Because there is a couple of other horses who can roll forward. Spring Delight and Pulse Ether, another 2 horses that can find themselves putting themselves in the race. This is the next best option to be able to find as a form reference, and that is the Counties Cup. This is the effort by, obviously we're marking out here the Savion Blanc run when finishing into second position. You've got Grand Bouquet, who's back buried on the inside when finishing into 3rd position. Look, I thought Justin Mays was pretty good when finishing 4th, because the horse had to do a fair bit of work to be able to find the front position, and he has battled on strongly into that 4th position. And then you start looking out for horses like even Paisley Park. Look, the race didn't really develop for where he was. He got back and running. Pole Zeeth was okay when finishing into 5th spot. A horse that was trying to find that Avondale Cup form once again when winning that at a big price. So there's a few ways you can sort of dissect this race. Ocean Billy was okay through the line when finishing back in 7th position. Look, in the end, I did go with Justin Mays as my top selection in front of Savion Blanc. So looking to go back-to-back with this horse, Justin Mays, find that front position. They've gone with the barrier blanket on as well, hoping that that will be enough to be able to see this horse jump cleanly and hold that rail position and look to go back-to-back, as I said. In front of the 2 in Savion Blanc, I thought the 5 Sheriff will notice the drop in weight. Of course, does drop 7 kilos on his run from 7 days ago, down to 54 kilos. He'll be a big player in the race. And then I added in the 3 in Maceto for a little bit of value for those that are playing into the first 4, 6, 2, 5 and 3. Big respect around Paisley Park as well. Of course, the Dunstan Feeds winner out of Ellerslie. Let's move on to the next of our features and the last of them. That'll be the Kalai Zuzu Stakes, race number 8, Group 2. We do have Sapira, the favourite, at $2.70 and $1.38. Twice Group 1 placed, including one placing this season at the Group 1 level, and that was in behind Call Sign Mav in the Tarzino. 8.5 around Fiscal Fantasy, who does come back to 1,600 metres. That doesn't put me off around her, though. She's a horse who's got a low gate. She operates at this distance and has been a winner twice here at this venue. Supreme Heights will sit on speed. It is a runner that goes up to 1,600 metres for the first time. And then Cinerama, 461.90. This runner is certainly the mover in the market and a really big danger to the favourite in Sapira with how she was able to let down last time out in the Tauranga Stakes. Speed, well, two speed runners drawn out wide, that being Supreme Heights and Show Her Roses. Show Her Roses found her form again by running second at Counties and behind Media Sensation and putting herself in the race, and a race that really was beneficial for those that were sitting close to tempo. Media Sensation in front. You've got Supreme Heights, who was outside leader. In the 1x1 with Show Her Roses. So it does make the run of Sapira very big in defeat when coming from back in the field to be able to wind into the race late over the 1,400 metres into 6th position, and also Craig Grills losing the whip about halfway down the straight as well. So I think there's so much around this run of Sapira to like what she was able to do here on this occasion, when you see some of her opposition were in the prime spot to be able to run their best race in the Auckland Thoroughbred Breeders by sitting close to tempo, with the leader winning the race in Media Sensation. Cinerama, though, is a horse that I think we need to have a big respect around. Missed the start at Tauranga and was able to really burst home strongly late to finish into 2nd position in the Tauranga Stakes. We've seen this horse been a winner at the listed level over 1,600 metres. Last campaign in the Wairarapa Breeders. Really like how this horse gathers momentum late. Concert Hall, yes, was the runner that got the sweet run and was too good, and then backed that up in the Group 1 last weekend in the Captain Cook Stakes. But Cinerama attacked the line strongly over the distance of 1,600 metres. Opie Boston aboard and has been the market mover in the Kalai Zuzu Stakes. Went with the 1 Sapira in front of the 5 in Cinerama. Look, there's not a lot between these two horses, and you can probably understand the market support that's been there for Cinerama, considering the horse was 6.5. There was a chance to have something on that horse and look at it as a piece of overs around Cinerama. So 1 to beat 5, not much between them though. The 2 Fiscal Fantasy, I think, can run a race. Drawn well, races well at this venue and at the distance, and of course backed up the Jardin Stakes from 12 months ago to win that race on Melbourne Cup Day, did Fiscal Fantasy, and they'll be looking at the Zabel Classic like they did last year when finishing 2nd in that race. Then I went with the 3 Supreme Heights. She is going to find herself putting herself on tempo, and she'll give her every opportunity to run out the 1,600 metres. And if you're looking for a real big blowout for your first fours, don't leave Pin Me Down out. They've put the blinkers on today. Did run 3rd in this race last year behind the Real Beal. Comes back from the Counties Cup, which was over the 2,100 metres to 1,600 metres. Didn't have a lot of favours through those 2 Group 1 races in the spring. Did Pin Me Down. So maybe she's a chance of finding that old form line once again in the Kalai Zuzu Stakes at a big price. All right, bets today. Look, I'm going to look towards Mai Tai as a bet this afternoon in race number 6. So I've marked that as my best. Next best, Sapira in race 8. At the same time, I will be saving on Cinerama in that race. So Cinerama is at 4.4, Sapira 270. So you can still have a bet on both and make some money. My value bet's in race number 4 in Blood Warrior. He is an old favourite of mine, but I thought the Blood Warrior was unlucky last time to the races, and he's a horse that could get a piece of it here this afternoon. He's a runner that just never got any fresh air. So strategy today, we'll have a bet on Blood Warrior, 10 each way. I'm going to have a split bet in race 5, Julius and the Mitigator, 10 to win on both of those horses. They can sit in the right spot in the race, close to tempo. Race 6, 20 to win Mai Tai. Race 7, 20 to win Just a Maze. And then in race number 8, $20 to win on Sapira. All right, well, that's a look at some of the races coming up here, Emily. And I can tell you that little bit of rain that was coming through has gone. It wasn't really any serious rain. It was just more annoying. Sun's back out. First race, 12:30.
Can't wait for that, Brendan, and great insight into those feature races coming from Te Rapa. We're going to keep on with our coverage. Don't forget the 3 domestic meetings this afternoon, Awapuni, and also Invercargill coming your way just a little bit later on. Let's get you to a break here on the Punters Lounge Live, and on the back of that, we head to Awapuni, where we link in with Stuart and also Bevan Sweeney for his thoughts around the meeting. Welcome into our coverage of the Punters Lounge Live, and we're off to our Puni. We're going to chat with Matthew Williamson about his thoughts around the track, and looks like a beautiful day down there. Matt, tell us a little bit about the conditions.
Afternoon, Emily. Yeah, it has cleared up. It was pretty cloudy and windy when I arrived here this morning, but the day's got progressively better and the sun's come through, and it looks like it's going to turn out to be a really nice day. The track presents well. Rail at 4 metres today. The track's in really good nick. Slow 7. They've had quite a bit of rain through the week, but the track is getting better, and I expected it to improve through the day. You could even see an upgrade would probably be likely.
Slow 7 conditions there, and the rail, you just touched on it. Out 4 metres, the outside bend.
Outside bend for today's meeting, as it was on the 21st of November. So it was at 4 metres on the 8 metres the 21st of November, and today we're back into 4 metres. So some fresh to ground run on, as you can see on the footage on TV. It presents in terrific condition, and I think it should race pretty fairly.
Looks that way. What about other news on the program? Anything to update us on?
Emily, I can't help you with anything. The phone has been silent this morning, which is a good thing.
Yeah, it always is a good thing. Well, great to get your insight into the track. Looks like it's going to be a beautiful day on course, and looking forward to linking in later on.
Absolutely.
So Matthew Williamson there, just having a little bit of a chat around the conditions at our Puni this afternoon. And as you can see, a slow 7, fine weather, the rail out 4 metres as it was just last time. Let's get to Bevan Sweeney for his thoughts around the programme at our Puni. And Bevan, great to have you joining us this afternoon, and looking forward to that Eulogy Stakes and a fantastic undercard as well.
Yeah, very good morning to you, or afternoon in fact. Look, the Eulogy is about as good as I've seen it actually in recent times. I think it's got a fair bit of strength across the top. Got the Levin Classic favourite at the present moment, and she's a catch in there. I think Whimsical's a very talented sort of horse. Of course, Key, another very, very smart runner. So looking forward to the Eulogy today. The first part of the program, these open handicaps are losing a little bit of their depth. We put them in place post-COVID so we could get more horses into fields. But at the present moment, having 3 opens on the program has just shortened up a few of these fields. So it'll be interesting to see whether 84 graders are about to come back as we get into that Christmas part of racing. But all in all, I think this track is going to race a little bit better than what we expected early on in the week. Emily?
Yeah, it certainly looks like that, and chatting to Matthew Williamson, those thoughts would be confirmed. Let's kick off our preview of the races from our Puni. We start in race number 2, Romantic Lady, the favourite here at 360 and 4s. Craig Grills, he looks like he's in for a good day, and Romantic Lady, a last start winner.
Yeah, she was very good now. She beat home Stumpy on that occasion. Gee, there wasn't much in it, and sectionally these two were outstanding on that particular day. 1-2 across the meeting. Stumpy's going to be forward again. Romantic Lady is going to be midfield or just that little bit better, but it's an interesting swing in the weight. Stumpy had the 58 last time, Romantic Lady had the 58.5. This time it's 54 playing 56.5, and there was very little in it. It's not a 2-horse war though when you've got horses like King Cougar here, Keza Quinman, who was very good at Trentham, and Chosen Peak always also in that Trentham race. Here is Keza Quinman and Chosen Peak. They both came from off speed. When I review this race, look out for the horse down the inside, Colorado Star. It's an next up winner. Put it in your black book. It will be taking out its next race. It went back towards the inside and actually found a really good kick, and it took these two right out wide to pick it up. Keza Quinman, well, he's always been a good horse for Shane Brown. He's now an 8-year-old and he's won 7. He doesn't have a great record here at Awapuni. That's the one question mark. He's the winner of 1 of 13, but he'd been going nice enough, building to this, and he won really nicely. Chosen Peak has just been in a fine vein of form for a very long period of time, so hard to really knock those two form lines. They come out of a 74 into an open like many of these runners do. Let's have a look at Blonde Line. I thought this was another interesting run to be bringing to you. Blonde Line has been trialling up and behind the scenes very, very well. And is very, very quick. He's been hard held at its last couple of trials performances. This one at Waverley. Now we know Chrissy's ability fresh with her horses. They generally come out and they run quickly. This horse can run very, very quickly. If the inside is favoured here with the rail out there a little bit, I expect Blonde Line to run a very good race here this afternoon. I didn't bring you that video of Romantic Lady and Stumpy in that preview because I thought Blonde Line was a little bit more important for those who are not going through the trials performances. So that was Blonde Line at the trials, but I thought Stumpy and Romantic Lady, when you look at that race last start, statistically and sectionally, they were outstanding. I'm going to go with the swing the other way in the weight, so I'm going to go with Stumpy just for that little bit of weight relief over Romantic Lady, Keza Kunmen, Chosen Peak. They are the 4 for me, in race number 2.
Sounds good, Bevan. Let's move along to race number 4, the Central House Movers 2100 metre race. It's an open handicap, and as you can see, Sweet Clementine at 4s and 155, your best back. Different on the tote, Filar at 360 for that tote win. Bevan, your thoughts on this one? Pretty strong through the middle market, isn't it? Top of the page over the Rivers, Nate, they're all in the mix here, even Duplicity as well.
Yeah, it's an interesting race because Over the River's just not backing up. He's putting in one really good performance and then not so good next time. He's going up a couple of kilos today with Sam O'Malley aboard. He only carried the 57 last time, but he was very, very good. Whether he shows that much speed as indicated there, I'm not 100% sure. But what I do know is Sunate's more than likely going to get the trail, where he was very good winning 2 starts ago, and he was very good behind Over the River in the Wanganui Cup. Then there's no tempo at all, so the rest of these horses are going to be sitting back, so they might just be able to steal it if Over the River does go forward. Here is his second, and you can pick up Sunate. Well, he'd put pressure into this race in the Lisa Ladder colours, chasing the eventual winner in Hunter Pence. So he was really, really brave to the line. There's not a lot of action from behind in this particular race. You'll see Duplicity way out wide in the blue colours, way back in the field, but much more proficient at Awapuni. He was great Over the River. What do you do with him here this afternoon? I'm just not sure where to look in this particular race. I ended up here in race number 4 on the program with Sweet Clementine. Just gets that weight relief down to the 53. I'm going to go with the lightly weighted horse who's coming onto the staying sort of scene. It's had that one run over ground. It was a good effort in behind the buzz. So I thought it might sneak into this race and be very hard to beat. Outside of that, I think Sunate will run a race Over the River, and I don't even know what to do with Fela, to be honest. Emily, clearly a very good staying horse, but he hasn't won for a while. Keeps on putting in nice sort of performance that you have to put him in your selections without putting him on top.
Yeah, sounds about right, Bevan. Let's move on to our next race on that preview, and it's race number 5. Deerfield in this one. Beefeater Weaponry does line up as the favourite here in race number 5. Just talking about Weaponry, a last start place getter at this track in behind Rock on Wood, and well, we know what Rock on Wood's gone on to do, Bevan.
We do, and it was a very small margin, and Weaponry was very, very brave on that occasion. Let's have a look at the speed map. Now, we know where Deerfield will be. Right on speed, and on the evidence of what happened at Trentham, is going to be very, very tough to beat again, and just loves Awapuni. So I think Deerfield's going to be very difficult to roll. Father Lenihan better last time. Cutting up Raf will be somewhere there, and Weaponry will be stalking them just in behind them. Can they get Deerfield? It's a question mark. Here is Deerfield in the Group 1 on a Saturday. And this is a field of very good quality. Deerfield is going to find a kick here. You'll see Hypnos travelling like the winner at this point, just in behind Deerfield, and then you see the big guns out wide and Rock on Wood. Can't wait for him to get on really good ground over 1,600 metres. I think he's exceptionally talented with his turn of foot. And then, of course, Concert Hall out wide. Beefeater also just in behind them there in the Chris Grass colours. But did I think Deerfield would run a hole in the Group 1 on Saturday? No, I didn't. It has proven me wrong. So you just have to follow through with that form and expect Deerfield to run a really good race. Here is the previous effort of Rock on Wood with Deerfield and Shadows Cast. Now, Shadows Cast was again disappointing at Trentham. Hard to know really what to do with him. Time's ticking is here. They both took their places in the Group 1, as did the winner, Rock on Wood, out wide. And Weaponry under Lisa all press on this occasion. I carried the 54, so there's a slight weight adjustment here upwards, but it was a good brave effort, and it took a Group 1 mile winner at his next start to get on by Weaponry. He did wobble around a little bit late in this particular race, and shut time sticking out of a gap there. So I still think there's a lot of upside on Weaponry. Third up this preparation. Hard to really doubt the form about these two, and therefore the prices are very, very close. Well, Group 1 form is great form, so there's no reason not to be playing Deerfield at a price at a track it loves and proved itself at the 1600 metres last time, and there's no real speed to really attack Deerfield, so might just get this very, very soft if that happens. This horse is a very major player. Weaponry, Beefeater, Father Lenahan, and Fast Sight was really good to beat a nice horse, Global Currency of Stephen Marsh's last time, but Group 1 form's the best in this particular field, so Deerfield on top.
Let's get along to the feature on the programme from our pony. It is the Lawmaster Eulogy Stakes Group 3 level for the 3-year-olds. And over the 1600 metres, She's a Catch is your best backed at 320 and 420. Craig Grills to do the riding. You're just hard to fault She's a Catch. Bevan has done the job twice, unbeaten in what it's shown so far. Up to the 1600 metres, spoke to Guy Lowry this morning. He's very confident with his charge, but there's a number of other trainers in behind who are pretty confident with their horses too.
Very even, isn't it, Emily? Albeit She's a Catch had the ability to take out a black type race at Hastings at its debut, and gee, it was an effort. The next up performance, I think it got there really easily and just loafed around a bit. I've got no doubt this horse is still very, very raw and immature. It's doing it all on just potential. So whether it can win today is going to be another question mark. But you can't doubt what it's done. That first up performance is one of the better performances across the whole entire carnival at Hastings. And look, back on the inside this day, it would have learned a lot. I think it's better following the inside running rail as well. It's still pretty green. Lisa's hands and heels in there. She's already there. She's got there very, very quickly. And then I think she just loafs along a bit once she gets up on towards the inside of those horses. And Lisa has to keep her up to the mark. She'll be improved out of that. Track conditions, I'm not 100% sure about. If they improve, your confidence levels will certainly go up, I think, around this particular horse. But class, and where it all ends for She's a Catch, I'm not sure. But it's going to be in a pretty high sort of place. Let's have a look at Key, because there are relevant form lines clearly here behind Z-Falls. And I think the two races, the one that She's a Catch won at Hastings and this particular race, probably frank up very close together in ability. So the two performers here are Key and also White Lightning. Z-Falls, big strong horse, is going to get up outside Key and win nicely. White Lightning is going to kick very, very strongly along the inside, the Ghostly Grey. But Key has had the one run here. It was beaten by Naval Fleet on that occasion. That was off a tough draw. Gets a tough draw again today. But they've flicked those blinkers on, which should really add just a little bit of spark about Key. And I don't think there's any concerns about track conditions as they get better. I'm going to go with She's a Catch on top. The horse I'm really looking forward to seeing, and I'm not sure if it'll handle these track conditions overly well, is Whimsical. Gee, a big, strong filly by Savabeel, who beat a nice horse in Screaming Eagle home at Te Rapa in a strong maiden 3-year-old last start. Again, it is drawn a little bit awkwardly, but I've got a sneaking suspicion this horse is going to reach top level. Keys right in the mix, and outside of that, Samima Bibi, I was really impressed with that run at Te Rapa. I found it difficult to leave this particular horse out of my selections under Wirramu Pin for the Ritchie and Murray team, but look, I've left out White Lightning. Signora Nera is going well. Love for All. It's one of those. Signora Nera, yeah. Sumo is the one that's come out, isn't it? So for the Alan Sherritt team. So look, there's a host of chances, and it's a really good addition to the Lawmaster Eulogy Stakes, and we might find a horse that'll go through Living Classic into Oaks contention through this particular race. So how did I see today's betting wise? I really like Our Hail Mary in the last, but she's starting to run out of chances. She's got the blinkers on today at the 1600 metres. She got well back out of her ground last time and ran home very, very strongly. I've always thought she is black type destined. Maybe it's next season, but I expect her to be very, very hard to beat in this particular race. Aquila Bell steps up in grade, but the last two runs have been very, very good, and you're getting an each way play on it. And my blood on the program, and I just don't think it should be anywhere near this particular price. She's Extra. Well beaten, fresh up, very much better last time. She likes wet track conditions. She's at $19. She was $21, $19. I think she can win that race if she's anywhere near her best, and I think she's getting quite close to that. So we're going to have 20 on Stumpy, 20 on Aquila Bell, 10 to 1 on She's Extra. She's at a big price, and we'll put our major investment on the day on Our Hail Mary. We'll have 50 to 1 on her in the last, and what is she paying? She's now into 360 Our Hail Mary. So that's how we'll have a look at the day, Em, and we're not too far away from getting the race day underway.
We had Alan Sherrock on the show earlier on, and he was very keen on our Hail Mary as well, so a good bit of confidence from the stable. Let's press on. A big thank you to Bevan Sweeney for his thoughts around that Awapuni meeting. Here's a look at those best-backed runners, and as you can see, our Hail Mary 460 into 360, Butler 5s into 260, Aquila Bell 10s into 750, and Weaponry 420 into 280. Nice close around it as well. We can't forget about Invercargill, our third domestic meeting on the programme this Saturday afternoon, and a bit of cloud around at Invercargill, but it looks like a bit of wind as well as the ladies make their way on track for what is going to be a fantastic day of racing. Most importantly, what we're all hanging out for is today going to be the day that Chris Johnson breaks the record. We'll find out later on. He's got a pretty handy book of rides, and it could quite possibly be the case that he could do just that. Clerks of the courses, they're all dressed up. No reindeer, but they've got the hats on and they're ready for that Christmas spirit, and everybody getting involved in the Christmas at the races and enjoying their Saturday afternoon out. So across those three meetings, so much to look forward to as we work through our programme. Te Rapa will be our first meeting. But there's a look at Chris Johnson's book of rides for Invercargill. Rabina Joy, Back Hut, Secret Sound, Never Quits, Hot Tap, Nesta, Point Score, Raise in Command. A couple of those are pretty short prices as well. Raise in Command looks like a nice way to go. Secret Sound, Never Quits also in the mix. Hot Tap, that had a bit of market support as well when we looked at those best backed runners, so that under consideration too. Chris Johnson, best of luck for him as he goes to that record of most New Zealand wins. Aidan Rodley will be taking us through the programme at Invercargill, and we've got his suggested bets for the Invercargill meeting. He's gone with his best bet as race number 2, the 5 Fairway Flight, and race 5, his value bet, the 11 Hot Tap. Nice bit of support for it. $100 strategy, 25 to win on the 5 Fairway Flight. $10 double, race 5 between Hot Tap into the 2 and 6. Hot Tap $10 to place, $25 to win on Kilowatt, and then $20 to win on As a Thought. So Hot Tap playing a big part of his suggested bets there at Invercargill this afternoon, and we'll be able to link in with him throughout that Invercargill programme as we get into the thick of racing action. Well, we've just about covered it all off, haven't we, here on the Punters Lounge Live. 3 domestic meetings, stakes races across 2 of those. So much to look forward to. Live racing will be up next.